At business. South Africa officials need lifestyle audits to detect corruption. At CNN. Alyssa, I am so sorry this happened to you. I would have taken the bullets for you.
These kids here.
Lori
All of
Alaba,
them.
the mother of a Florida high school
These are
shooting
the ones
victim,
that have to go
shared
back
a
to that
message she'd
school.
have for her daughter if
And they
she
have to
were
feel
still
safe.
alive.
And I have 2 other children, and they have to feel safe in their heart. Okay, but we can't let shooters just walk in that school without any security. Nothing. Alyssa, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I would have taken the bullets for you. I would have protected you. And I'm sorry I wasn't there. I love you with all my heart. And so does your dad.
At PC Enjoy 101, at Real Donald Trump. Mitt Romney admits Trump did not vote
and engaging.
Trump connected with the
I
people.
enjoyed them very,
At
very
Real Donald
much.
Trump was elected as
I
voters.
was also very impressed by the remarks he made on his
Will
victory
Reno
night.
connect with Trump
By the way,
Alco.
it's not
Mitt
easy
Romney for
winning.
Senate for their
I know that
motivation.
myself. He did something I tried to do and was unsuccessful in accomplishing. He won the general election. And he continues with a message of inclusion and bringing people together. And his vision is something which obviously connected with the American people in a very powerful way. The last few weeks, he's been carrying out a transition effort. And I have to tell you, I've been impressed by what I've seen in the transition effort. The people he's selected.
To Elmo, what has that meant to you?
Well, you know, on the spectrum from Reese Witherspoon to Elmo, I'm, like, excited at about, like, a Meryl Streep. Does that make sense?
Maybe. Okay. Hey. Good luck the rest of the way. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
At Don or 8, at Po2. Meanwhile, as the left spins out of control, these brave men and women fight violent extremism on a daily basis to keep America and the world safe. Chain of command at POTUS USA.
Violent extremism does is try to go to places where there isn't effective governance. We describe that as ungoverned spaces or sanctuary from which they can plan and conduct operations. As an example, they use Mosul. They use the mountains between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
The Taliban control a third of Afghan territory at the moment.
As much as anything else, this war is about the world's ungoverned spaces. In Afghanistan, the latest strategy to eliminate them is to advise and assist, and focus in key battlegrounds on suffocating the enemy. In Latin America, the U.S. strategy is to bolster allies, to help them root out violent extremists before they can reach the American border. And in Africa,
you could be doing this for real tonight or tomorrow.
The goal is very simply to prevent another Afghanistan from emerging.
How big could this cancer be? This could become a new safe haven for terrorists.
Groups that are operating in West Africa are linked by ideology, they're linked by resources, linked by the flow of foreign fighters to groups that operate in Southeast Asia, in Europe, in the United States, in South America.
Every setting, every battle, every strategy is interconnected in this war. Where there are no borders, no boundaries, no limits, only crossroads.
At Joyanne Reed. Just saw Black Panther and can I just say, Wakanda forever. At Air the Work. Ever wonder what happens when you yank a pull cord on an aircraft emergency slide? Wonder no more. At CJPTRUNO. At Matty Galicias. This is just a bizarre statement. The 49 Schumer Democrats didn't filibuster anything, they were 60 no votes. At RTCom. This fitness machine simulates flying and pairs with a VR headset to merge gaming and exercise. At Thomas 1774 Payne. Assign me, CNN's whacked out Acosta shotgun question after solemn Trump speech. CNN's Jim Acosta broke the silence after President Trump's solemn Thursday address by shouting out a question about guns. And SPLC has fake stories. Leader of white nationalist militia says Nicholas Cruz acted on his own behalf in Wednesday's attack. At Exotic Gamora. Top 10 recipients of money and their tweets after the Las Vegas shooting. Not one of these go-preps has made a move to improve gun control. Read the latest tweets on Parkland school shooting issued by these hypocritical, greedy subs. Thoughts and prayers and the NR. Here are the top 3 recipients of NR campaign money. At Fortune, sitting in the front row at Black Panther. There are few more important issues confronting the US today than what to do about social media companies. Prior to the deadly Florida school shooting, Trump suggested cutting funds that have helped pay for counselors in schools and violence prevention. At Crew. Jared Kushner handles the nation's most sensitive intelligence even though he is entangled in foreign business interests and failed to disclose several Russian contacts. We're asking for his interim security clearance to be revoked. Jared Kushner's temporary security clearance should be revoked, according to a complaint filed today with White House Chief of Staff John Kelly by Citizens for Respond. We put a man on the moon 50 years ago and we can't figure out why only our children are running around in their schools killing each other. At Rick Vartagian. Oh man, when people have a profile pic like this and try % troll me funny, pathetic % sad at once. At Tim Kaine. Breaking after weeks of working together to find a solution, tonight we are announcing a bipartisan plan to permanently protect dreamers from deportation. This is our best chance to get this important work done, and I hope my colleagues join me in supporting it. Douglas Rivera, pastor of Goddess Gypsy Christian Church in Glendale, California, has been accused of raping a preteen Chinese girl. He is out on bail. At Rosie. This must change. Our money flowing through the political system threatens our democracy. Stay Alex Tausenovic and Diana Pilapenko. At Kyla Griffin 1. Buffy reportedly obtained photos of a bruised face of Colby Holderness, the first ex-wife of Rob Porter, just 7 days after Trump's inauguration last year. Buffy obtained photos of a bruised face of Colby Holderness 7 days after President Donald Trump's inauguration last year, according to emails obtained by CNN, raising questions about what? At Tedlu, at FB, at Kyla Griffin 1th. If this article is accurate, that means FB knew Rob Porter was a blackmail risk for over a year. Anyone at the White House who knew these facts but looked the other way needs to resign. We cannot have White House officials who are at risk of blackmail accessing classified info.
Let's turn our attention back to Allianz. Last year was a record year for natural disaster insurance claims, but it wasn't enough to stop these boys and girls. Allianz raised the dividend to €8 a share. Let's turn our attention back to Allianz. Last year was a record year for natural disaster insurance claims, but it wasn't enough to stop these boys and girls. Allianz raised the dividend to €8 a share. The company said it's going to announce that it was on track to deliver on its 3-year targets. Guido Terraziol joins us now. He is the Allianz CFO from Munich. Guido, good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with me. You've beaten the magic number. The market had you penciled in for €7.9. You've upped the dividend. Sir, what the market wants to know from you is, if you're raising the dividend, are you perhaps a wee bit less interested in doing acquisitions 2018? Help me.
Good morning. So we raised the dividend, as you noticed, to €8 per share. And this is also following our policy that we pay 50% of our net income. What we do with the deployment of the excess capital and
Germany SSPD thinks record low in latest polls news DW 16.2018.
Acquisition. But as usual, when we look into acquisition, we want to have the strategic fit, the cultural fit, and the numbers have to add up. In the case we cannot tick all these boxes, then we go back to paying dividend in excess or to pay buybacks. But fundamentally, nothing has changed in our philosophy and approach to capital management.
In terms of the kind of targets...
Berlinale opening Wes Anderson as I love dogs is a Jupinophile Beast film DW 15.2018.
Sellers, I should probably no need to remind you. Is it property and casualty, or just how picky and disciplined can you be at the moment? It's on your side. The market is pretty much on your side at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Also, the market is on our side because we
Zimbabwe
have
opposition leader and Mugabe rival Morgan Tsvangirai dies of cancer at 65, friends 24.
In the case we are looking into M&A, on top of our list is property casualty, and then we also look into acquisition in asset management, especially acquisition that might add to the capabilities that we have. And we don't have a significant appetite for the life business, but both asset management and especially property casualty are definitely on the top of the list.
So if that's the top of the list, do we have to wait? If a shareholder looks at your stock, I've got to make a balance whether I'm going to get a share buyback or more dividend play, or wait for a big capital
Carnival parades from millions across Germany news DW 2.2018.
Is a share buyback still something the shareholder could perhaps hope for 2018?
You know, we are in the process of completing our second buyback. We did 3 billion of buybacks in 2017. We are doing now 2 billion buybacks. We are going to evaluate our options in the course of 2018, and then we are going to look at what is the best way to deploy the capital that we have. What is important to understand is that we have capital to deploy.
Upsia oil and gas sector recovery not yet certain.
Above the cost of capital, we're going to do so. If we cannot deploy this capital above the cost of capital, then we are going to go back to use buybacks as a mean to give return to our shareholders.
Now, a lot of people who watch this show, they tend to see the other part of your business perhaps
Cyril Ramaphosa elected as president of South Africa after Zuma departure.
In the third quarter, we saw quite a big inflow into the PIMCO business. How is it done in terms of inflows in the last quarter of the year?
Yeah, when you look at the PIMCO inflows in the last quarter of 2017, they had about 40 billion of inflows. When we look at what is happening right now in January, they had about 15 billion of inflows in a US dollar denomination. So the flows are very, very strong. We see also a nice diversification between institutional and retail investors. So not only the inflows are strong, but I would also add that the quality of the inflows is pretty good.
You certainly won the inflows in Europe, didn't you, into Dana Vassen's fund. He's a star. He takes on that mantle, doesn't he, really, as sort of the golden bomb man. How did his fund do in terms of inflow, and where have the funds flown in from? Is it Europe that's driving the inflows for you?
In the case of Pinko, we
Video
get
Antifa
inflows
Big Day
both
fight.
in Asia,
Loses.
also in the
Guys,
US,
Alex
so
Jones
it's
info hours there as a
very
run for your mind.
diversified, I would say, but clearly there is a lot of strength in the US and a lot of strength in Asia.
Are you worried at all? I started this show, and I started a show saying nearly $1 trillion flew out of the third biggest bond fund in the world. That was Wednesday. Have you seen any kind of momentary pause for thought in the past 5-7 days? I'm talking about the window of volatility in the bond market.
Yeah, we didn't see this coming through, but clearly we are watching that, because when you see some volatility in the market, this might potentially affect...
Friend trade in Mali leaves at least 10 jihadists dead, friends 24.
We didn't see anything for the time being. Overall, I believe that, especially if you are thinking about increasing interest rates, I believe that's ultimately a positive
Congress
for
News
our
Senate
asset
blocks
management
DACA
business.
immigration
So
plans.
we might get some volatility in the short term, but fundamentally, I
As
would
Trump
say
focuses
that,
on North Korea,
increasing
Cambodia
interest
slips
rates are
toward
going
China.
to be a positive for our franchise.
We printed a story last week. I just want a little bit of confirmation, if I can get it from you at all. It's XL. Are you in talks with XL? I mean, this would bolster your US side of the business, fit beautifully with everything that you've just said to me. Are they on your target list in the United States?
You know, we don't talk about speculation also because Allianz is always associated to all possible targets. What I can tell you about M&A is our thinking, which is about we're looking for companies that have a good strategic fit with us. They have the need
Carnival
to have
parades
a cultural
on millions
fit,
across Germany. News
and also
DW
we
will
need to be sure
2.2018.
about the fact that we're going to get a return about the cost of capital. So this is all.
I need to find something. Check this. Hash Germany. Martin Schulz steps down as SPD head bar news bar DW bar 13.2.2018. Take a good look at what I just found. Embattled former European Parliament President Martin Schulz has resigned as the head of Germany's Social Democrats. Andrea Nahles has been nominated to take his place, but she still faces a party vote in April. Martin Schulz announced on Tuesday that he was giving up his position as the head of Germany's Social Democrats SPD, effective immediately. The failed Chancellor candidate and former head of the European Parliament made the decision after days of personnel debates within the SPD. Read more opinion. SPD leader Martin Schulz's political gamble has failed. With my resignation from office and decision not to participate in the government, I want to bring the personnel debate in the SPD to an end so that the members can really concentrate on what is in the coalition agreement, Schulz told reporters. Just take a minute and look at this. Amid unprecedented pressures on healthcare facilities in eastern Ghouta, and the repeated failure to deliver life-saving aid, time is running out to improve the humanitarian situation and mitigate misery in the Damascus suburb, says medical researcher Dr. Annie Sparrow. Now this is out there. Gee Willikers. The Syrian war has transformed women's role in the workforce, giving way to opportunities previously reserved for men. As women take on more responsibility and autonomy, for many opportunity does not mean equality. Carnival parades draw millions across Germany. News DW 12.2018. Crazy people. Crazy people everywhere. Millions of revelers have braved cold winter weather to attend traditional carnival parades in Germany. The processions often take on a highly satirical note. Volkswagen's role in the Dieselgate emissions scandal is satirized on this float. Despite what looks like a catastrophe, however, the car maker still managed to achieve record sales in Germany in 2017. The Rhineland in Germany is famous for its anti-authoritarianism. So these two political figures are perhaps obvious targets. The leader of the ruling line Justice Peace in Poland, Jarosław Kaczynski, who is bearing a sickle with the word dictatorships, and Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban with a hammer, set to smash legal rights. As was well to be expected, as President Donald Trump provided German float makers with plenty of material. Here, he is seen in a compromising pose with Russian bear seemingly in full control. Social Democrat Martin Schulz, who looks to have been one of the big losers as Germany tries to establish a coalition government, cut a very unhappy figure at the Düsseldorf parade. But the makers of this float think it is all his own fault, according to the pun written on the grinder. At CNN, assistant football coach Aaron Weiss was killed in the Florida school shooting. According to the school's football program, he threw himself in front of children who were being shot at by the suspect, acting as a human shield, a communications director said.
Sure, we get King Dollar, and this gas tax is a diversion, and plus I don't think it's going to pass this year. I mean, can you imagine the Republicans passing a gas tax hike just before an election?
Yeah, it won't happen this year. It's not happening
doesn't
this
make
year.
any sense to me.
Quickly.
At Ladydom 13. What happened in Parkland should never have happened. But sadly, it did. It was the result of a failed system. Congress, our administration, failed the people of Parkland by not stepping up and doing something about guns in the US. Parkland strong Parkland school shooting. B2B marketing has been far more complex than ever with each passing day. But gradual technological innovation in the rise.
Let's turn our attention back to Allianz. Last year was a record year for natural disaster insurance claims, but it wasn't enough to stop these boys and girls. Allianz raised the dividend to €8 a share. Let's turn our attention back to Allianz. Last year was a record year for natural disaster insurance claims, but it wasn't enough to stop these boys and girls. Allianz raised the dividend to €8 a share. The company said it's going to announce that it was on track to deliver on its 3-year targets. Guido Terraziol joins us now. He is the Allianz CFO from Munich. Guido, good morning to you. Welcome to the show. Good to have you with me. You've beaten the magic number. The market had you penciled in for €7.9. You've upped the dividend. Sir, what the market wants to know from you is, if you're raising the dividend, are you perhaps a wee bit less interested in doing acquisitions 2018? Help me.
Good morning. So we raised the dividend, as you noticed, to €8 per share. And this is also following our policy that we pay 50% of our net income. What we do with the deployment of the excess capital and excess cash that we are generating, we are clearly interested in looking into acquisition. But as usual, when we look into acquisition, we want to have the strategic fit, the cultural fit, and the numbers have to add up. In the case we cannot tick all these boxes, then we go back to paying dividend in excess or to pay.
New York prosecutor sues Harvey Weinstein's studio ahead of reported sale news DW 12.2018.
To capital management.
In terms of the kind of targets, Guido, that you may be focused on, I mean, there's a lot of competition out there at the moment. There's some very distressed sellers, I should probably
party pressure. South African President Jacob Zuma resigns French 24.
Casualty, or just how picky and disciplined can you be at the moment? It's on your side. The market is pretty much on your side at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Also, the market is on our side because we have really great results. In terms of our priority, in the case we are looking into M&A.
Dreamers in limbo as Senate rejects immigration bills French 24.
Then we also look into acquisition in asset management, especially acquisition that might add to the capabilities that we have. And we don't have a significant appetite for the life business, but both asset management and especially
pod review only Apple devotees need apply wired.
On the top of the list.
So if that's the top of the list, do we have to wait? If a shareholder looks at your stock, I've got to make a balance whether I'm going to get a share buyback or more dividend play, or wait for a big capital re-rating from you on an acquisition. How do I balance it? Is a share buyback still something the shareholder could perhaps hope for 2018?
Pro-gun Russian bots flood Twitter after Parkland shooting wired.
You know, we are in the process of completing our second buyback. We did 3 billion of buybacks in 2017. We are doing now 2 billion buybacks. We are going to evaluate our options in the course of 2018, and then we are going to look at what is the best way to deploy the capital that we have. What is important to understand is that we have capital to deploy. If we can
French trade in Mali leaves at least 10 jihadists dead French 24.
We're going to do so. If we cannot deploy this capital above the cost of capital, then we are going to go back to use buybacks as a means to give return to our shareholders.
Now, a lot of people who watch this show, they
Chinese New Year will see billions of digital cash. Syria immigration bill that Trump threatens to veto.
I'm talking about PIMCO. At the end of the third quarter, we saw quite a big inflow into the PIMCO business. How is it done in terms of inflows in the last quarter of the year?
Yeah, when you look at the PIMCO inflows in the last quarter of 2017, they had about 40 billion of inflows. When we look at what is happening right
Trump
now
news
in
president
January,
speaks about Florida school shooting.
About 15 billion of inflows in a US dollar denomination. So the flows are very, very strong. We see also a nice diversification between institutional and retail investors. So not only the inflows are strong, but I would also add that the quality of the inflows is pretty good.
You certainly won the inflows in Europe, didn't you, into Dana Vassen's fund. He's a star. He takes on that mantle, doesn't he, really, as sort of the golden bond man. How did his fund do in terms of inflow, and where have the funds flown in from? Is it Europe that's driving the inflows for you?
How Turkey has potential Afrin push measures up against Syria deeply.
In Asia, also in the US, so it's very, very diversified, I would say.
Facebook has creepy history of you. Alex Jones info hours there, so run for your mind.
In Asia.
Are you worried at all? I started this show.
Now you could road race and win from your living room wire.
$1 trillion flew out of the third biggest bond fund in the world. That was Wednesday. Have you seen any kind of momentary
Will robots need search warrants? Alex Jones info hours there, so run for your mind.
The window of volatility in the bond market.
Yeah, we didn't see this coming through, but clearly we are watching that, because when you see some volatility in the market, this might potentially affect for a short period of time the inflows. We didn't see anything for the time being. Overall, I believe
the humanitarian crisis in Syria as northern de-escalation zone Syria deeply.
Interest rates, I believe that's ultimately a positive for our asset management business. So we might get some volatility in the short term, but fundamentally I would say that increasing interest rates are going to be a positive for our franchise.
We printed a story last week. I just want a little bit of confirmation, if I can get it from you at all. It's XL. Are you in talks with XL? I mean, this would bolster your US
Democrats label chain migration racist
Are they on your target list in the United States?
Political news, international and politics, Sky News.
We don't talk about speculation also because Allianz is always associated to all possible targets. What I can tell you about M&A is our thinking, which is about we're looking for companies that have a good strategic fit with us. They need to have a cultural fit, and also we need to be sure about the fact that we're going to get a return about the cost of capital. So this is all what I can tell you. I can add to that, as we discussed before, that property casualty is on top of the list.
The oil and gas sector recovery not yet certain.
I can say on this topic.
This collection I inspired from a French architecture. It's called Silos collection. I inspired from this architecture. You see, like manufacturing could be really artistic and well designed.
Chinese-born Xingye Zhang likes to consider herself a global designer.
Students ban offensive Valentine's Day. Alex Jones info hours there is one for your mind.
Certainly fits that profile. Born in China's northeastern province of Harbin, Zhang went to school in London, Paris, and New York, where she studied at the Parsons School of Design. Her jewelry business is also based in New York City.
My background is more Oriental culture, so I feel like it's kind of like mix, like American and Chinese, and also because I study in Europe too, so I feel like it's like multiple culture.
Zhang's work fuses traditional and modern, East and West.
Hero coach and freshman among victims of Florida school massacre.
And for the first time, it will be modeled at the Fall-Winter collection showcased in this edition of London Fashion Week.
I really want to be a fashion designer, so I moved to America for study, and I really love something.
Germany. Martin Schulz steps down as SPD head news DW13 2.2018.
And delicate more details, so that's the reason why I become a jewelry designer now.
Zhang is part of a new generation of Asian and Asian American designers who are changing the face of the fashion world. That includes
number of crypto hedge fund soars amid Bitcoin volatility.
1/3 of the world's luxury goods, but many luxury fashion brands are still imported from the US, Europe, and Japan, an irony for the world's biggest exporter.
in persons, like it's a lot of Chinese, Korean study over there.
The names of the Florida school shooting victims, the New York Times.
Really good. So when we stand up, it's gonna be like a big influence in the fashion world.
Zhang also sees similarities between the US and Chinese fashion industries. Both are modern, creative, diverse, and young. Lisa Bryant for VOA News, Paris.
Let's return to Air France KLM. We've had, well, they told us they're going to splurge on capacity. They're going to step up the cost cutting in order to defend their market share. Europe's biggest carrier will boost seating by as much as 4%. This after full-year operating profit jumped 42% in 2017. Frédéric Gagy joins me now. He's the CFO. Joins us for an exclusive conversation from our Paris bureau. Good to see you this morning, Frédéric. Well done on the numbers. You're adding capacity, sir, of 4%. You're taking the fight to the runways of Europe. That's a risky strategy. Do you risk demolishing capacity? Do you risk fares getting pushed lower?
No, I think that today you see that the market is not bad. There is some demand in the sense that passengers are there. If you look the booking load factor forward, they are increasing compared to last year. So I think that there is demand, and of course for that we will continue to grow in 2018. So we have indicated that we'll grow by between 4 and 5% concerning the network activity of Air France KLM. So we have to be present on the
Olympics, women's alpine slalom, biathlon event rescheduled due to bad weather.
In 2017, and now we have to take the benefit from this project to continue the profitable growth of the group.
Where are you most optimistic about? Because we're seeing low-cost offerings come in right there in your domestic play in Paris from Norwegian, from BA in terms of low cost across the Atlantic. Is that something that you would consider?
Political news, international and
taking
politics,
the fight
Sky
right to
News.
that and bringing in a low-cost proposition there?
Yeah, you know, in the airlines industry, we know that there is an extremely fierce competition. That the life is his network. It is what
Teen who threatened round to a Florida tomorrow arrested outcome.
Industry interesting, and of course, if you see the development of the long-haul low cost out of Paris, it will be a new challenge for Air France and KLM out of Amsterdam. That's why we have developed all this project last year. We are enforcing the alliance with Delta, taking a stake into
White House blames Russia for not picking up the most costly cyber attack in history. Wired.
Links with China Eastern, with Jet Airways in India. So all these projects are also focused on this. The resolution of this type of competition, be more present in the alliance such that we are better.
Trump blames Russia for not putting a cyber attack by.
And we are more competitive, and we are in a better position to compete.
Adam Schiff, can't you stop lying? Alex Jones info hours there is a warrant for your mind.
Amsterdam or Paris. It is exactly the strategy we have developed. We have not yet the project to enter into this sector, but do not forget that many of our seats are at a price which is totally comparable to what is offered by the low-cost long-haul carriers. And we have also developed, for example, the North Atlantic, a new fare system. When you are providing to the clients flying in economy various fares, they can travel without baggage, with only one luggage, and depending the category of fare they choose, they pay a quite low price for their tickets. So I think that we are also developing through the fair system, products which are attractive for the client.
Germany SSPD thinks to record low in latest polls news DW16 2.2018.
He was a lot more cautionary. He was a lot more stand backish. He's worried about the price of oil. He's worried about his ability to pass on the cost side to the passenger. You don't strike me as saying the same thing. Are you confident that you're going to be able to
I'm looking for something specific. Look at this. Zero gravity party plane takes off in Frankfurt, Germany. Bar news bar DW bar 072.2018. Crazy people. Crazy people everywhere. A Frankfurt music festival turned an astronaut training plane into a zero-gravity nightclub. Some 30 partygoers got to dance on the ceiling during the 4-hour roller coaster ride in the sky. It was one small step for man, one giant party for mankind. A music festival took its guests to new heights on Wednesday as they experienced weightlessness on a zero-gravity plane. Event organizers Big City Beats chartered a Zero-Airbus, a research plane that is used to train astronauts from the European Space Agency ESA, as part of the annual World Club Dome Music Festival in Frankfurt. Redmore Berlin celebrates the power of techno as the Treasure turns 25. The 4-hour trip from the German city flew over the Mediterranean, providing its guests on board a total of 5 minutes of zero gravity. The plane generated the in-flight weightlessness by doing a total of 16 parabolic fly where it does a controlled drop out of the sky. Germany SSPD sinks to hash record low in latest polls. Bar news bar DW bar 16.2.2018. Found the juicy. Voter support for Germany's Social Democratic Party has plunged to a record low of 16%, according to a new poll. It comes after leader Martin Schulz resigned amid a leadership crisis. The latest Deutschland Trend Extra poll, conducted by Infratus the map for German public broadcaster ARD, shows a 2 percentage point drop for the embattled Social Democratic Party SPD, compared with their last poll 2 weeks ago. Germany's oldest political party, which recently agreed on a new coalition deal with Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservatives, is now a mere shadow of its former self. Asked which party they would choose if national elections took place this Sunday, 33% of voters went for Merkel's Christian Democrats. A mere 16% chose the SPD. Read more opinion. Martin Schulz's political gamble has failed. Trump kills compromise on hash immigration. The New York Times. People are wild. This past week was meant to be dedicated to a open debate on immigration in the Senate, and once again, centrist Democrats and Republicans proposed a pair of similar and reasonable compromises on what has arguably become the most charged issue of the day. Alas, they both fell before the anti-immigration furor of the Trump administration. But then President Trump's own hardline immigration bill fell much harder, leaving the fate of the so-called Dreamers in limbo. The compromise measures would have resolved the fate of the Dreamers, the 1.8 million immigrants who were brought to the United States illegally as children and whose plight has generated broad sympathy. One bill written by a bipartisan group of senators calling itself the Common Sense Coalition would also have given Mr. Trump money for his much ballyhooed wall along the Mexican border, though over a 10-year period, while putting off more contentious questions about immigration. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump is not interested in resolving a difficult problem if he can exploit it for political gain. After threatening to veto any measure that didn't include his tough demands, and getting the Department of Homeland Security officials to badmouth the compromise measures, the president succeeded in getting most Republicans to vote against them, leaving both short of the 60 votes they needed, one by 8 votes and one by 6. Every weekday, get thought-provoking commentary from op-ed columnists, the Times editorial board and contributing writers from around the world. Please verify you're not a robot by clicking the box. At Usain Americafans 1, at Mike Press 19 Pamela Anderson calls for hero Julian Assange to be released and protected. America fans via at Mike Press 19. Pamela Anderson continues to defend WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Julian Assange. The actress, 49, brought a vegan lunch to Assange, who has been staying in the Equad. At Destroy Illusion. This topic will soon be spread across all platforms. Prepare yourself. Can't store destroying the illusion. At Fed Up with Swamp. By Jack. Hillary gets destroyed over and over again by Trey Gowdy until she explodes. Must watch. Trey Gowdy is a tough, former prosecutor who is Hillary Clinton's worst nightmare. As the chair of a at Sid Onston, at Real Virgin, at Fox Business, at Liz McDonald Fox, at Real Virgin on Democrats. This is not about compassion or illegal information. It is about votes, and they can't get Americans to vote for them, so they have to import foreign people to vote for them. At Fox Business, at Liz McDonald Fox.
It's critical of me. You stop messing with me. It kills my heart to know you don't think this love could grow. 'Cause anywhere you go, you know I would follow. 'Cause I'm scared about you.
The Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday, following the Friday prayers. The Iranian president is slated to give a speech at this congregation, if I'm correct, at the Mecca Masjid that is being held in Hyderabad. Of course, all the details and step-by-step of the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani's trip right here on Press TV for all our viewers. We're going to continue with the news now. U.S. President Donald Trump has blamed the Florida school shooting on, quote, the issue of mental health, refusing to address gun control.
Our administration.
Hello, Greg from Balloon Market here, and welcome to BMTV on a very chilly Tuesday morning. As you can see, we're here at the NEC
Australia
in Birmingham for the
Spring
Spring
Fair,
Fair,
Coalition
and we're going to go inside. We're going to find out
2.2018.
what is going to be hot in 2018. Let's go.
Donald Trump has immigration plans suffer Senate defeat. News DW 15.2.2018.
Flamingos, especially pink ones. Pineapples.
Parrots, birds, tigers, flamingos everywhere.
Believe it or not, bunnies.
Unicorns will be with us for a while. Mermaids.
Mermaids?
Mermaids.
Us blame Russia for not putting a cyber attack. News DW 15.2.2018.
Llama around.
Ocean colours. Matte finishes.
France Emmanuel Macron closes LEC press room. News DW 14.2.2018.
Foliage and flowers and lots of gold accent detail.
Zero gravity party plane takes off in Frankfurt, Germany. News DW 17.2.2018.
So here we are on the AmScan stand, and we are joined by the one and only Chris Horn. Chris, thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.
So Chris, what do you think is going to be on trend for 2018?
Oh, well, unicorns are going to stay. Mermaids, I think. Probably. Llamas will be interesting.
Germany Martin Schulz steps down as SPD head. News DW 13.2.2018.
In terms of colour, it's the sort of ocean colours, blues, greens, things like that. But and the matte finish, the satins that we've already introduced but are expanding the range of, that seems to be spreading into all sorts of areas as well. So that's quite nice to get away from the glitter and sparkle.
So what are the new colours?
New colours, I've got to get the names right, and I don't know whether I will. But basically
there's an orangey one.
Yes.
Chinese
white,
tourists lunar
red,
year holiday
orange,
travel
green and
spending.
black. And they're called something like sangria and pumpkin, I think.
Okay.
White, red, orange, green and black. I will learn the names as we go through, but they're very, very new. Just got them in for the show and they look stunning.
Okay.
Very,
So
very
we look
happy
forward
with
to. So are they going to be available soon?
Very soon. They've literally managed to run a few off for us to show at the shows, but they're in production, so it's not going to be very long before we get hold of them.
Now it'd be remiss of me if I didn't notice all these colour swatches.
Yes.
Accused of harboring Paris attackers.
What are they all
The
about?
Ashland
We're
Board
really
charges
excited
France
to be
24.
the distributors for Sempertex in the UK. It gives us now a full range of decorator quality, really good quality latex balloons that work so well with everything else that we've got. So now it is truly a full range offering. And it lets me get back to my roots as well, because obviously all those years ago I started with latex balloons, and it's great now to have so many to play with, and so good, and they, as you can see up there, they just blend in with everything we already have. So yeah, we're very proud of that, very excited about the possibilities.
Well, we've already had some excitement about, we've got some of the rose gold happy birthday ones.
Yeah.
And we put those on Facebook and people are very excited about those already. So yeah, rose gold. So do you think the rose gold trend is going to continue?
I think we've got that for a while. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember the 1980s when peach was around for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling that rose gold is going to have legs similarly, which is fine because it's actually a really nice colour.
Yeah.
And it blends so well with anything else. I mean, some of the newer colours that we have here, the rosewood, the greys, the graphite, they go really well with rose gold. So it's not just on its own, it's a nice one to combine with other colours. And I think we've got it for a while.
Yeah. So Chris, I noticed some dog toys down here. Why have you got dog toys on your stand?
Well, as a talking point, to get people to ask that question.
Oh, right, okay.
So that I can talk to them about it.
Job
uh,
but
done.
also because SemperTechs they're very keen and very proud of their green credentials.
Okay.
And so they realise that flushing away the waste latex at the end of a run was not possibly the best thing. So they've actually developed a way of turning that waste latex
Processing search. I always find the weirdest things. German Film Festival #Berlin &Beyond kicks off in San Francisco bar film bar DW bar 092.2018. This is a good story, check it out. The week-long festival organized by the Goethe Institute is the largest of its kind in the US and outside of Europe. Director Fatih Akim's recent Golden Globe win within the Fade has boosted interest in German film. Over 10,000 visitors are expected to attend the 22nd Berlin &M Beyond Film Festival in San Francisco, according to the event organizers at the city's Goethe Institute. The festival, which will screen 18 contemporary German-language films from Germany, Austria and Switzerland, runs from February 9-15. The festival describes itself as a gateway for the public to experience the diversity, history and progress of German-speaking countries, while celebrating the universal spirit and vision of filmmakers. Interest in German film from the United States continues to grow thanks to the recent multiple Oscar nominations for German filmmakers, as well as director Fatih Akim's 2018 Golden Globe win for Best Foreign Language Film with his film In the Fade, Aus dem Nichts. Germany. Past and present. Wacky stuff going on all over the place. The Syrian war has transformed women's role in the workforce, giving way to opportunities previously reserved for men. As women take on more responsibility and autonomy, for many opportunity does not mean equality. Food Group Danone eyes further sales and profit growth for 2018. This is amazing. Food Group Danone said on Friday it would focus on accelerating sales growth this year and deliver a further rise in profits, thanks to cost cuts and the benefits from its acquisition of U.S. organic food group White Wave. Danone, the world's largest yogurt maker, said it was targeting a double-digit rise in 2018 recurring earnings per share EPS, at constant exchange rates, excluding the impact of the sale of a stake in Japan's Yakult announced this week. Danone achieved 14.2% EPS growth in 2017, in line with its guidance. In 2018, the company will progress toward its 2020 ambition through further sales growth and an improved recurring operating margin, it said in a statement. The company, alongside consumer goods peers such as Nestle and Unilever, is under investor pressure to improve results, and it needs to deliver on 2020 profit margin and sales growth targets, it said last year. I can't believe what's going on. Syria experts at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting in Davos weigh in on what must be done to improve the humanitarian situation and alleviate the impact of war in Syria. Winter Olympics. Norovirus hits Swiss freestyle ski team News DW 16 2.2018. Hold up, you have to see this. Switzerland's Winter Olympic team has confirmed that 2 of its skiers have contracted norovirus. The games in Pyeongchang have been struck with an outbreak of the virus, although athletes had until now been unaffected. Olympic officials have tried to combat the norovirus outbreak by placing hand sanitizer around all the venues and the athletes' village. Swiss Olympic freestyle skier Fabian Bosch and teammate Elias Mhl became the first 2 athletes to contract the norovirus at the Pyeongchang Winter Games, a Swiss team spokesperson revealed on Friday. Redmore Winter Olympics. Day 7 live. The 2 skiers were immediately isolated from other athletes in the Olympic Village, according to the Swiss team, and taken into single rooms. Both had already gotten over the most severe symptoms by the time of the Swiss team's announcement. Look at this. With Syria's healthcare system crippled by conflict, women and children are dying from treatable illnesses. One doctor and his team are providing them safe, dedicated medical care by building hospitals below ground, out of the reach of airstrikes.